Whether you are a buyer looking to purchase a home or you currently own a home and you're thinking about selling in the near future, a home inspection is always going to be a part of the process, no matter which end of things you're on. So what we're going to talk about today are the top things to look for when you're having a home inspection, or that someone might find in your home. So be a little preventative, I guess, with it. So I'm here today with one of my great friends, Mr. Dave Christopher with Integrity Home Evaluations. And I've asked Dave to kind of give us some insight today as to what are the top 3 areas that folks have issues with when it comes to home inspections, the 3 things we see the most. So Dave, I'm going to turn it on over to you.
One of the things that's real common when we do home inspections that we find is mold in an attic. And a lot of times it's because of improper ventilation. It happens when people have changed their shingles for maybe the first time. Their house was built in the early 90s or the mid 90s, and it had a certain type of vent. Now they've put a more efficient vent in, and that has created more moisture in the attic. And so it used to really surprise me when I'd go up in somebody's attic and I'd see this mold. But now it's just so common that
it's very common.
It's more common or more uncommon to not have mold of some sort, and that shouldn't scare anybody because it's easy to mitigate, and it's usually you take care of the what's causing it first, and then you take care of the discoloration, and that's pretty easy to do.
And it's not usually quite as costly as people think.
Right.
I mean, I've had it done on all different sizes of homes, and square footage wise, I mean, it can run anywhere from $800 upwards to a couple, maybe a couple thousand. It really just depends probably on how long it's been going on, how much it's traveled in the roof inside, in the trusses and stuff, and then how much treatment would be needed.
Right. And usually it's going to set up on the north side of the attic, above the bathrooms.
Yep.
And so that's where it's the most prevalent. And I've gone in and I've seen little small areas, and those would be real easy to take care of. And I've seen some really big areas, but and all of that's fixable. And people hear the 4-letter word mold, and they freak out, and it's really not. It's really not that uncommon to have it to some degree that can be fixed pretty easily.
And I think important to remember as you own a home, I always have to tell my kids this if they're listening, to turn the fan on, like when you're taking a shower. They run these extremely hot showers, and if you don't turn that fan on, the moisture just like sticks to your walls and causes other issues later. So make sure that you're doing that. So second thing that I think comes up a lot, at least from the real estate side of things, it seems like is electrical. It's always a hot button. What can you tell us about that?
So there are a lot of electrical issues that are fairly frequent, so a home inspection is not a code inspection.
Right.
There's no way, it's not fair to the house. It's not something that it's easy for an inspector to know all the different codes of all the different ages that the houses were built and in the towns where you're inspecting. So it's not a code inspection, but the codes have brought forward a lot of different things that make it safer for us to be in our houses. And so it's real common to find the need for a house to have GFCI protection anywhere there's a potential for a water source. So it's, we're all familiar with kitchens and bathrooms having GFCIs, which if you're unfamiliar, is those outlets with the little buttons on them.
The little reset button.
Yeah. And the codes though can constantly changed, and it's made us think, oh yeah, that's a good idea that, we should have a GFCI outlet on the exterior and in the garage and in the laundry area, unfinished basements, because they could get wet. So don't be surprised if you have an inspection, and depending on the age of your house, that we call out the need for GFCIs. It's a simple fix. It's a straightforward, easy fix.
And again, it's not very costly. I think on the average, what I usually see on our side of things is very inexpensive. You
Yeah.
know, it's going to be maybe $100. It depends on how many you got to do, but they're not very expensive to
Yeah.
do at all.
Yeah. And so the other issues with the electric would be, or in the electrical category, would be smoke detectors.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's always a good idea, no matter what age of home you're buying, that you replace the smoke detectors that you have in the house, because you don't know what they've been through.
Right.
You want to have a smoke detector on each level and in
Mm-hmm.
each sleeping room. And I would recommend carbon monoxide detectors on each level as well.
Definitely.
Um, Very common for homes built in the 90s to have a smoke detector on each level, but not necessarily in each bedroom. So that would be a issue that we find frequently. Open grounds are another
Mm-hmm.
concern that we find, and that's where you have outlets that have three prongs, but whenever you test them with your electric tester, you find that there is no ground wire. And it's very common in older homes that people will purchase the three-pronged outlet to replace the two-pronged outlet as a matter of convenience,
Mm-hmm.
and they're actually, believe it or not, cheaper
Mm.
to do. But the the problem is that you don't have a ground, and somebody unsuspectingly plugs something in.
And it gets zapped or something from
Yeah,
lightning or an issue like
yeah, and
that.
you don't want to have a expensive big screen TV or computer, or even gaming systems. I know
Mm.
you play a lot of games.
Oh yeah, I'm
Um,
a big
yeah.
gamer.
But you don't want to have something like that get damaged because
Okay.
you thought that you had a grounded receptacle.
So I'm thinking, I'm not real bright about this stuff sometimes, but so if I have my computer, my laptop, which is a three prong, and I need to plug it into that outlet to get it to work, I have to have a three prong to put it into. What are my other options then?
Well, an acceptable, there's a couple
An
different things you
adapter?
can do. Well, there's really no adapter that's going to give you the
Oh,
ground. So you can have an electrician rewire, and you could have it rewire that outlet or that room, and provide a ground there.
but still leave it as
Um,
a three prong?
yeah,
Oh,
and
okay, that's good.
with the new wiring, you can do that. That's not always
Gonna,
convenient or inexpensive to
oh,
do. So you can actually replace that outlet with a GFCI outlet,
oh,
but it
okay.
has to be marked ungrounded. It still is not giving you a ground, but it does provide you a little bit of protection um, for if you're plugging something in.
Okay, cool.
So there's
Well,
a couple different ways you can go.
that sounds good. So there's one other thing that comes up a lot in my inspections, it seems like, and it has to do with the hot water tank. And I don't even understand most of this, but I know it's a problem with backdrafting.
Yeah,
Can you explain that? I know you're going to do a way better job than I can even attempt to do.
I'll try. I'll try. So water heaters, gas water heaters, is what the issue is. A lot of times now, when it comes time to replace your furnace, uh, we're going from a conventional furnace to a high efficiency
Hmm.
furnace, but the water heater remains, basically a conventional water heater, if you will. So when the house was first built, as an example, you have a conventional furnace with a flue that shares the flue of the water heater, and that flue is sized for the two furnaces. It's always sized for the larger BTU unit. And here comes my trash guy again. Okay.
Okay.
So
So the flu.
so the flue. So the flues are sized for the larger BTU unit, which in this case, most cases, is the furnace. What happens when we replace that furnace with a high efficiency is a condition, what we call an orphaned water heater.
Mm.
So now this water heater is using this large flue and it's only got a small need.
Oh,
If
okay.
it's kind of hard to explain, but basically what it means is your flue is now oversized for your usage, and the the combustion gases are very lazy, and what can happen is that combustion gas drops back down out of the flue into the living space. And one of the ways that you can
Oh,
tell that that's happening is if your water heater has plastic rings up by the cold and the hot water,
and they're melted.
they're melted, then you know that you've got some backdrafting going on. So it's usually not too big of an issue in the winter time
Mm-hmm.
because the law of thermodynamics, hot goes to cold. So the combustion gases are hot and they're going to want to get outside because that flue at the top is very cold. But in the summertime, when things start heating up, and that's when it becomes lazy, and that's when it wants to drop back
Okay.
down.
So if
So,
that comes up, then that's something a plumber can rectify? Is that
yeah,
it?
yeah, plumber or actually a heating, venting, and air
HVAC?
conditioning,
Okay.
HVAC can take a look at that for you as well. And it's basically going to need a flue that's resized, smaller for the
For the unit?
unit's BTU.
Perfect. Wow, this has just been such great information. I hope you guys have liked it. If you decide to buy a home or would like an inspection before you list your home, which is a thing, you can do that. Dave can provide those for you, and we will make sure that you have his information in the comments below of how to reach him. And I am Tina White with eXp Realty. And if you need help on either end, buying or selling, I would love to be your realtor.